2 of 3 in Kansas City over the weekend, but the biggest story of the series turned out to be that young man, Roberto Osuna. Jays closer was not available for Friday's game. None of us really knew it at the time. His absence was made more noticeable when the bullpen blew a 3-run lead with 2 out in the 9th inning. Jays lose. Osuna explained Saturday that he was dealing with anxiety issues, but returned to the mound yesterday, and he looked amazing, striking out the side in a very non-save situation. There's a lot, Tim, we don't know about this. And also, for the record, Rob Longley of the Toronto Sun reported that he was also available to close Saturday if the situation arose, which it did not. Past that, we don't know a lot about this.
Yeah.
How do we talk about this?
I'm so glad that you said we don't know a lot about this, because for me, that might be the biggest part of this story, is that we don't know a lot about this other than what he told us. Yeah. So that leaves plenty of room for interpretation that I have absolutely no interest in attempting to diagnose, even though there were those attempting to do that over the weekend. Here's what I do know. 20 years ago, nobody would have shared this information. Maybe 10 years ago, very, very few would have shared. Like, how many times have we had the conversation where a player has come out and said, I'm dealing with some anxiety, I'm dealing with whatever right now, and I need a little time? Like, on one hand, you could count the amount of times you've heard a professional athlete say that.
I might need a thumb and a finger.
Right.
Might not even be the whole hand.
And what was perhaps more impressive was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, the reaction to the information was extremely positive.
Yes.
Like, no one was saying the old, hey, get it back out there, you're paid millions of dollars to play a game, get back out there and do your job. There wasn't a ton of that.
No, not publicly, no.
In fact, there was very little of that.
Yeah.
And that's impressive to me.
It is. It is. I'm also, along those lines, Tim, I'm impressed that he spoke both Saturday and Sunday when I felt really he didn't have to. Because how many times have you and I spoken about things you see on a sports ticker that probably aren't what they appear half the time? Like, when you see the flu on Sportsnet 360 or here on Sportsnet, when you see groin strain.
Player A flu. Player A
groin strain, won't play tonight. Sore lower back.
Yeah. That can mean anything.
That's all fishy business. And that could mean he has those things, he or she has those things, or B, there's something else going on and it's either none of your business or we're not telling you, or both. And no one would have batted an eye if you would have seen Osuna flu next to his name on that ticker.
Right.
No one would have said anything. He spoke on it. He didn't have to. He spoke Saturday. He spoke Sunday. He didn't have to do that. And I am beyond impressed, because as much as we talk about anxiety and mental health issues in 2017, I'm not ignorant enough to think everyone's on board on it.
Right.
Because that's not true.
No.
Are you telling me every guy in the clubhouse was like, I get it? Are you telling me every guy around Major League Baseball who heard the story said, I get it?
Yeah.
There's no way they all said that. We made great strides, and I've learned way more about mental health in the last 3 years than I have my entire lifetime, and I'm better for it. But I'm convinced there's some people who don't care. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
And for him still to come out and talk when he didn't have to talk, is the point I'm making, is incredible. And for that, I do applaud him.
Right.
I really do.
And before, there's a segment that will get contrarian on this and act tough guy. And before you jump on that, listen, this is a performance-based sport. Make no mistake, he will be judged on his performance on the field. But what we're learning as a society, what you and I are learning as we sit here and get life experience, is that he can still be a huge member of the Toronto Blue Jays, still get help, still contribute and be a part of a team, and so can anyone else in society, no matter if you're talking about anxiety, depression, or some sort of a mental health disorder. All of them, you can still be a huge contributor to whatever team you're on, whether it be a baseball team or someone like you and I working an everyday job, or those people at home. And we've all come to realize, yes, you're judged on your performance, but you can still perform very well if you get the help that you need along the way. And that is where I think society has come from before, where it was just like, pass it off to the side, we don't understand it. Now we can say, hey, get help, still be a huge part of the team.
So Tim, let me ask you this.
Even if he needs it, but we don't know.
We're not. Yeah, we know. I still think we know a little of what he's dealing with. So if you're a member of the Traveling Jays media and you're going to be there tomorrow around 4 p.m. Eastern for batting practice ahead of the Jays Orioles, and the day after that, 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 do you have to ask John Gibbons if Roberto Osuna is available every single day? How do the Jays handle that from a PR standpoint? How should the media handle that? Because I'll say this, for season ticket holders, for people watching at home, for advertisers, we wish nothing but the best for him, but that is an extremely relevant question when you are one of the best closers, not young, you are one of the best closers in the game of baseball. How do the media and the Jays now handle this in terms of John Gibbons and everybody else?
There's not a blueprint here. Like how we've said, we can count on maybe one hand the amount of times that anyone's dealt with a situation like this where someone comes to the media and says, I'm struggling dealing with something. You know, like I can think back to Jim Eisenreich having anxiety issues. I can think back to just a couple of players. So I think while it is relevant, there's no blueprint, and it'll be extremely interesting just to follow the story and see how it's dealt with and see how the fans deal with it too. Because I think all these things are kind of trailblazing-like.
If Jay Stenhouse and the guys at Jay's PR do a tremendous job and are big supporters of this show, and we respect them a great deal, I think my own suggestion, quick 30-second thing with the assembled media ahead of time before John Gibbons speaks on the record.
Right.
Just let him know what the deal is. And then just deal with any other issue you want to talk about.
That'd be tough for Gibbons to deal with every day.
He's not a doctor.
Yeah.
He does he knows what he's being told as well. He can't speak on it.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, there's no blueprint for it, let alone for Gibby.